Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started since we have 3 full pages to walk through, beginning with the first resolution approving an alcohol license for Burrito Bros. Ms. Dickerson.
The Planning and Zoning Department and the Chief of Police had no issues with the request.
Any questions for Ms. Dickerson? Next item, several items, belongs to Ms. Peoples. Beginning with item number 4, resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Oak Mountain State Park, not Skate Park, State.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
So the first one is the agreement with Oak Mountain State Park, which as part of the Hartford Nationals, the adaptive sports competition that we're hosting again next month, we'll host the para-triathlon there again. So this is just a facility use agreement with them.
Very good. Any questions on that item for Ms. Peoples? Have another facility agreement with Hoover Mall Limited and Buckernets.
Also related to the Hartford Nationals, when the athletes are here competing next month, we will have a social for them at Bumpernets that will be in the gallery as well. So this is a hold harmless agreement with the Galleria.
Any question on that item? Item number 7 is a facility use agreement with the Transplant Life Foundation and the Transplant Games.
Are we going to number 7? I think we might have skipped number 6.
Well, let's go back to number 6.
Sorry. So this is a facility use agreement with the city of Birmingham to use their natatorium and the crossplex for the swimming competition for the Hartford Nationals next month.
Very good. Any questions on that item? And now item number 7. Tell us about that one.
So the transplant games are being hosted by the city of Birmingham, but they will be using the tennis courts at the Hoover complex. So this is just an agreement with the transplant games to use for the use of the tennis courts.
Very good. Any questions for Ms. Peoples on that item? Item number 8 is an agreement with a high Regency for rooms for the firefighter challenge.
So as you know, we are going to have the firefighter challenge back again this September. One of the stipulations within the contract with the organization First Responders Institute is we put up some of their staff at the Winfrey. So that's this agreement with the Hyatt Regency.
Did we do that last year for the games?
Yes, sir.
Any questions for Ms. Peoples? That's all for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Carrier is next for the next 4 items. We'll begin with item number 9. Resolution authorizing the mayor to purchase stop-loss insurance for the city.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Tonight we have 4 renewals for insurance products for the city of Hoover. This first one is our property insurance, and it includes our city buildings, contents, high-value automobiles, and equipment. We are recommending renewal with our Alliant Insurance Services again this year. There is a 9.5% increase from last year, but it is still well within our budget, so we are recommending to renew with them.
Any questions on the Alliant item? And then item number 10 with travelers.
Yes, sir. So this is a new item for your consideration tonight. It's increased cyber liability insurance for the city. Long before we learned of this recent area cyber attacks in our communities, our team, your risk management team, including James Brittle, our insurance consultant, has been exploring markets and marketing the city. And so this year we are asking for an increased policy with travelers. Typically it is part of our Alliant policy, but this year we're asking for the funds to buy a standalone policy that has greater benefits and a lower SIR. It is an increase of approximately $30,000 for just the cyber coverage for what we currently have, but again, it's still well within our budget, and we are recommending buying that increased coverages. And I believe you have a chart that shows our options, and we recommend option number 2. We think that gives the best coverage for the best dollars.
Any questions for Ms. Carrier? Very good. Item number 11.
Yes, sir, this item is an annual renewal for the city's crime insurance policy. This is also with Travelers, and it provides protection against employee theft, credit card forgery, counterfeit, and it also provides the coverage for the E911 communications district required by the state of Alabama. There is no increase, it remains flat this year.
That's good news. Any questions about that? And finally, Ms. Carrier has item 12, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Global Aerospace.
Yes, sir. Again, this is a renewal for our police drone coverage. We currently have 20 police drones and 3 cameras, including 6 new ones this year. It is an increase of about $5,200 for an annual policy, but we recommend renewing that coverage as well.
Any questions about our drone insurance? Thank you. Item 13, Mr. Fountain. I don't see Mr. Fountain. The chief is here though. Resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Alabama Power Company for flight camera systems. You want to brief us on that one? Sure. Quickly.
Thank you, Council. The flock camera systems, at the present time, we don't have any flocks. These are license plate readers, and once we use these or purchase these flocks, we can get the database, the whole metro area, which we certainly want to use.
Very good. And Alabama Power is participating.
Alabama Power is participating. We'll be putting them on Alabama Power poles.
Very good. Any questions for the chief? Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item 14, resolution accepting the award from the state of Alabama for the Senior Health Extravaganza.
Yes, I think I have the next 4 items. These are really housekeeping items. So number 14 is a $5,000 contribution from Representative Shaw for the Senior Center's regular operating expenses. So this was a contribution that was received back in March, and so now we're asking to increase the budget so that money can be expended.
So 14 is a budget amendment for the contribution in 15. Am I interpreting that right?
No, 14 is a budget amendment to officially accept the revenue that we've deposited in our account, and then also to be able to spend that money.
Gotcha. Okay, makes sense.
Yes.
Any other questions for Ms. Cornett? And 15 is accepting the money from Representative Shaw.
We're accepting a lot of money, yeah. So this next one is from Representative Jim Carnes, also for the Senior Health Extravaganza. So this is a gift or a contribution. This one really, this is really a housekeeping item. This was accepted or deposited, I should say, back in October of 2023. And we're just in the process of going back and kind of crossing our T's and dotting our I's. So we would like to be able to increase the revenue budget for this money that we accepted, and also have permission to spend the money.
Okay, any questions on that one?
Okay, the last gift or contribution is from Representative Lee Halsey. This was mentioned at the last meeting that we had. There were actually 2 gifts, one for police and one for fire. We are still in the process of processing the information on the police gift, but this one is for the fire department. So again, a request to accept the revenue and then make those funds available to expend.
Very good. A lot of generosity here from these folks. Any questions on that item? That's a check she brought, I guess, last meeting, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
And then finally, item 17, amending the budget for this fiscal year.
Yes, so this is a request to pay the operating expenses that were agreed to back in November when the Riverwalk agreement was signed. One of the responsibilities that the city took on with that agreement was, and this really represents the triple net lease portion
of the rent for the 4th floor of the Riverwalk building that the city has agreed to pay. And we, at the time that we signed that agreement, we didn't know the amount of the monthly operating expenses that would be the city's portion. This is a budget amendment to account for the months of February through September, since that's the fiscal year we're in, the monthly amount of operating costs, and it's all based on square footage, but the monthly amount is a little over $27,000.
Members have the budget in front of them there for the breakdown of the operating expenses that make up that 27,000 figure.
Yes, so I do.
Yeah, it's in the packet there.
It is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
We see it. Any questions for Ms.
It's
Cornett?
utilities, repairs, general maintenance, insurance, property tax,
Yes.
and shared services, the typical kinds of things that go along with a triple net lease, which is what we signed. Any questions about that?
Any questions on that item?
What departments are y'all looking at moving in there?
I am not certain as to what the commitment has been made. There's been a lot of talk about, but I'm probably the wrong person to talk about who is going to move there. We made a determination based on that. Okay. We know that we need to move some people around because of the NCFI expansion. So whether that's a city department or possibly outdoor, somebody that's currently housed in our properties that has to be moved will go over there and occupy that space. I think is the plan.
That's fine. Got any idea when, and not maybe who, but when we plan to move in?
I don't have an answer for that. Do we have, hasn't been determined yet?
All
We'd
right.
obviously like to get somebody in there soon.
Yep. All right, thank you.
All right,
Thank you, Ms. Cornett. Mr. Martin? Front row Mac, item number 18. The ordinance to change zoning on the E2 district.
Yes, sir. This is rezoning on Swiss Lane, 2671. They are requesting a rezoning from the E2 Estate Residential District to the Legacy Single Family Residential District. The purpose of this is to reduce the rear setback. Right now they have a 50-foot rear setback to contend with. Very challenging on a lot of this size to make any improvements to the rear of the home in order to maintain that 50-foot setback. So this will reduce their rear setback to 20 feet, which would be advantageous for a home improvement project that the owner wants to pursue. The Planning Commission reviewed this item and considered it at their May meeting and unanimously recommend favorably to this body.
Very good. Any questions for Mr. Martin on that one? That's the weed and grass portion of our meeting. Buckle up. All right. A lot of them. 19 for 2054 Wood Meadow Circle.
2054 Wood Meadow Circle is still overgrown, still in violation.
This, I'll remind members, is just declaring the nuisance. So on Monday, if it hasn't been cut, we will.
That's right, and I'll give this body an update on Monday for all of these properties.
Yes, sir. In fact, let's just kind of roll on through here. 2161 Kelly Lane, 2337 Tyler Road.
Let's see.
These are actually, I'm sorry, not the nuisance, but these are abatements. Are they?
They're all declaring these.
They're declaring. Okay, thank you. Every one of them seems to be.
Except for the number 29.
The very last. All right, let's take through 28. Any of these been cut to your knowledge, Mr. Martin?
I may be able to simplify this. Of all the cases that we have on the docket for weeds and high grass, I have 2 that have been cut, and they are as follows. 2 Inverness Center Parkway, that is the bank located on the corner of US 280.
It's not on the agenda.
Okay, it's no longer on there. And about 2164 Whiting Road, that one has been taken off as well.
Yeah.
All right, so the rest of them are currently in violation.
And these Inverness Center Parkway addresses are all part of the, I assume, discussion with the
Yes, sir.
IOPA that's no longer in.
And I do have an update on that. So we met with the authorized agent representing the 4 Hertz properties, which together make up the majority of the office portion of Inverness. In that discussion, they explained to us that there are challenges to getting the Inverness Office Park Association, IOPA, back up and running. It has been defunct for several years now. Since Hertz has gone into receivership, they being the dominant owner in there, their management of IOPA also went defunct. So you've had several years where there are maintenance responsibilities that IOPA is responsible for, where landscapers have not been paid for the work. So they stopped cutting. And so now we find ourselves in a situation where the good news is the representative of the Hertz properties has been authorized to take up management responsibility for IOPA. They do have a process in place where they are going to be sending out notice to all of the owners within IOPA and hopefully receiving dues, which they can convert that into a contract to do the landscaping for the shoulders, the medians, and the like. At this juncture, we explained to the authorized agent of the Hertz properties we have 2 issues. One, we have IOPA, their responsibilities, which they've fallen by the wayside in maintaining their area. But secondly, we have these individual properties that are not in conformity. So be going beyond the right-of-way to include the sites themselves, they are overgrown. So it is our hope that by the time I come here Monday, that at least the Hertz properties are cut and we can take them off the list. My understanding is the Hertz properties do now have a landscape contract and that they are pursuing getting those cut and in order. And that would include the frontages, the roadway frontages for those properties. It's a substantial amount of frontage for those 4 tracts of land. So if we can get those taken care of under their individual responsibility, the individual property's responsibility, that'll make a substantial difference.
But there's substantially more addresses in the IOPA than these 5 were.
There are, and the ones in addition to 2210, let's see, 104. There are a few others in Inverness that are currently in violation. Their frontages are overgrown, and we still have them on the agenda at this time. We can confirm as of today, none of these properties have gone out and maintained their frontage. Some of them have the properties within the property lines off the right-of-way maintained, but the right-of-way in front of their locations is overgrown.
But those are in the process of being notified and may appear on the agenda?
Yes.
Soon? Okay. Very good. I know the members have probably been receiving concerns from residents and business owners out there regarding this.
Yes, sir. It seems like we are going in the right direction, and I'm hoping by Monday we have proof of concept of that.
Good, thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Martin? Then finally, Mr. Martin, the abatement of 3406 Flintshire.
Yes, sir. I still have that on the list as in violation as of today.
Very good. We'll get an update on that one on Monday night. Any questions for Mr. Martin regarding that one? And Mr. Martin, we're going to have 3 first readings, beginning with item number 30 for for weeds and grass at 1691 Montgomery Highway.
Let's see. At this time, I still have it on the list, but I will double check and make sure to see if we can have that one taken off. But I'll have an update for you on that one Monday night.
Can you remind us what property that is?
So that is at the corner of Municipal Drive and 31.
Gotcha, that's the Midas.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Any questions for that item, Mr. Martin? All right, and item number 31 is an annexation on Highway 290.
All right, this particular annexation includes a singular property that has two commercial buildings on it. One is an American Family Care site, and the other is a daycare immediately behind it. We have received a preliminary drawing, it's on the overhead right now, for a prospective subdivision of the site. It appears that the property owner has secured the ability to come in and replat the properties as two tracts of land, so subdividing the one tract into two, and being able to reserve right-of-way where the access drives are now, which would make both of those properties in keeping with our subdivision regulations. So it appears that we are in good shape, and we would recommend approval.
Any questions, Mr. Martin, on that one? Again, this is just a first reading. Then item 32 is another annexation, 3721 South Shades Crest.
All right, for this particular property, this is approximately 110 acres, known to most of us as the Gun Club property, between the two sets of railroad tracks south of South Shades, and abuts the Trace Crossings and Black Ridge communities. And reviewing the annexation along with the agreement attached thereon, I can report this evening that we've had conversation with the school system, and the school system will be able to accommodate the 400 units that are proposed as part of the annexation agreement. Staff at this time, we are still reviewing that agreement and hope to have a recommendation to you soon.
Very good. This is a first reading, so no vote or action will be taken on that on Monday night. That brings us to the end of the agenda. Any general questions before we adjourn for the evening? Very good. See everyone on Monday. Thank you for being here.